One vital step on the road to proper funding for the Alternatives organisation was their official government accreditation, awarded at Stormont on the 26th of September 2007. David, as an organisation, just how important is Alternatives to the community?
Well, I think it's an extremely important organisation, particularly in the Shankill and the Greater Shankill area. It's done plenty of good work in conjunction with ourselves, particularly in the line of crime prevention and anti-social behaviour. Woodville Park's a perfect example. Sits right beside their offices, and they're doing tremendous work in terms of trying to develop the park and get it back to an open space that can be used by the whole community.
So how closely does the PSNI work with Alternatives?
Well, there's myself and my colleague Ray Foster, both on their management committee. I've been with them for nearly 3 years now, and we've always been represented on Alternatives throughout their lifetime, and hopefully we'll maintain that close link.
Obviously it's a big day for the organisation today here, finally getting accreditation after almost 10 years.
It is. I think it's great to see, and hopefully with it will come the funding that they need in order to survive, because without that they can go nowhere. And I know we're trying to do our best to help and support them in any way we can, and I hope that politicians and everyone else in the community will do the same, because they do a very important, vital job.
I think they've made a tremendous impact. I mean, when one considers going back years ago, the amount of punishment beatings and all that have been taking place in the area. In fact, not only punishment beatings, but people who were actually murdered, killed, and thank God those days seem to be over. And I believe that Alternatives have played a major role in that. And I think that not only in bringing about a reduction in violence, but I think that people are beginning to look, those people who are involved in antisocial behaviour, they themselves are starting to examine their conscience. And we have found that there's even a downward trend, even in that. And I think that that's because of their promotion and the ability of the workers and Alternative that have helped to create that situation.
Obviously it's taken them a long time, almost 10 years, to get government accreditation. Hopefully now with proper funding they'll be able to carry that work on.
Yeah, I mean this is one of the sad things, that it took government 10 years to be convinced of the sincerity of Alternative. But I think it's better late than never that the government themselves now realise how important it is, the vital role that Alternatives have been playing and have played, and hopefully now with the funding we'll be able to increase their influence, not only in the Shankill but right across Belfast.
I think what the organisation brings to the community is that firstly now they've been recognised through the accreditation process for the good work which they've done. And also it helps the community, I think, understand that restorative justice is a very useful thing to help people who've been harmed by crime to get their voice in the community. What I do is I'm responsible for restorative justice for people who've been prosecuted, young people who've been prosecuted. What you have here is an organisation who deals with young people before they've been prosecuted to try and prevent them from committing further crime, letting them hear the harm they've committed to the community, and therefore try to turn around their lives and make payback to their neighbours for what they've done. So hopefully if Alternatives is successful, I should get less work, because we should have less them coming to court then who are prosecuted, and I'm quite happy with that.
Koulla, how does your organisation connect with Alternatives?
Well, Include Youth is a regional. We work across Northern Ireland, working with the same sort of young people that Alternatives do. So we would work with similar kids in partnership with them. We would do joint training with them. I also sit on the board of Alternatives, so would try as best I can to offer advice and support to the organisation as a whole.
So basically for kids who get into trouble in these areas, there is a fair amount of support out there if they want it.
I don't know if the word fair amount, but there is some support out there. The trick is to find the right support, and I'm not overly confident that there's sufficient of the right support. This sort of programme like Alternatives is brilliant. Let's not forget though, at the moment it only operates in 4 areas, in 3 areas in Belfast and 1 just outside in Bangor. That's nowhere near enough. It needs proper resourcing and it needs to have a good rollout. So this is the beginning of something, it's by no means the end of it.
Dawn, what sort of value does Alternatives provide to the community in East Belfast?
Well, basically the community in East Belfast couldn't function without having Alternatives. They provide services for young people, they provide services for mothers and families of young people. They also provide mediation services, and they play a crucial role in community cohesion and the settlement and the peace and the safety of the neighbourhood.
So obviously it's a great day for them today to be here, to be finally getting accreditation after some 10 years.
Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, since they started in 1995 and they've continued with this, they've jumped through every loop and every hoop that was put in front of them. They've met every protocol and every guideline that's been laid down, and they knew they were onto a good thing. They knew the positive effect that they were having in the community. And really, you may say that I suppose it's taken government this long to recognise the good work that they are doing. There are still some politicians and political parties that don't see the benefit of community restorative justice schemes, and there's still some convincing to do there. But I think government departments now, with this accreditation coming through, government departments are now going to have to fund the projects that do work and do have positive effect on the ground.
For many, many years now, we've been saying that policing is much too important to leave to the police alone. One of our former chief constables said that. That is true. The problems that are going on in communities cannot be solved by the police alone, or any other statutory criminal justice agency for that matter. We need to work with the community. And it is extremely beneficial to us when you have a coherent structure in place, a body such as Northern Ireland Alternatives that you can tap into and work with to genuinely seek to address problems that are affecting that local community.
You've had accreditation, you're now formally at long last after some 12 years, recognised by government for the job you do. Will that lead automatically to funding for you?
That's what we thought, but the reality has proved to be different. And it's been quite disappointing for us, to be honest, because the government over the past 10, 12 years has insisted that we jump through a lot of hoops. And a lot of hoops that no other community organisation in Northern Ireland has ever had to jump through. So we have been inspected, regulated, evaluated to the hilt, and we've just received government accreditation. And government accreditation by signing up to a set of protocols that were crafted by the NIO, by the Northern Ireland office. And now they're saying, you've signed them, ready to go, we want to work in partnership with you, we want you to deal with our young people, but we're not going to give you any resources to do it. Now, to me, that just is an insult, because I feel that we have saved the government and will continue to save the government so much money. So that's the battle that we're fighting now. We actually thought the fight was over, but it's not. But we're members of the community, we're passionate about what we do, and this is a vocation rather than just a job. So we're here, and we're here to stay.